Jama.
My name is Obina. Welcome to Good Morning Anambra, right on ABS TV.
Okay, good to have you. It is Tuesday morning, and a time like this, we'll bring you a press review. So we take a break here, and in a very short time, we introduce our guests. Okay, welcome back. Yeah, who do we have here, Obina?
Yeah, we have with us Barrister Moses Ubo. You know, before now we actually struggling. Is it Ubo or Ubo? But welcome, Councillor. He will be joining us today on the press review.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Anambrians. Thanks for joining us this morning.
All right. All right, we'll be looking at the newspapers. The first one we'll be looking at is the Daily Times. And on the Daily Times, we have wickedness paying an exclusive preserve of Tinubu's government. This is coming from one-term Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Says President's economic policies approach to governance killing Nigerians, and that's a rider to that headline. All right, still on the Daily Times, we have at Saudi summit, Tinubu demands end to Israeli aggression in Gaza. One's vision of two-state solution actualized. All right, a lot of reactions to that. All right, Ipman, Dangote reach agreement for direct lifting of petrol, diesel, kerosene. Electricity consumers kick as discos increase prices of prepaid meters. Criminal prosecution, police secure 35,604 convictions in 10 months. NMPCL clears $4.68 billion cash call debt to IOCs. All right, that's on the Daily Times. Moving to the Punch newspaper, we have...
Before we get to the Punch as well, let's quickly look at the stories that are making the rounds from our website this morning.
Right.
The first one says, second edition of Anambra Investment Summit 2024 hosts Thursday this week. We are looking at the headlines from website this morning.
Yeah, the ABS website.
Okay, 2025 legal year, Anambra State Judiciary holds special court session in Oka. And then Anambra State Assembly Speaker Udeze felicitates Demveji Etiaba as 82. Anambra State Government cautions EEDC against indiscriminate cutting of trees. And NLC knocks federal government on economic issues. Finally, from our website, Russia deploys nearly 50,000 troops to Kursk. Okay, so Moses, let's see if we can make sense out of any of the headlines here.
Okay. I picked particular interest in NLC. NLC knocks FG on economic issues.
Okay.
You see, the NLC over time, in fact, we are worried because over time it had turned to a toothless bulldog, highly politicized, you know.
What do you mean by highly politicized?
You see, at times when we expect decisive action, we expect engagement with the government with respect to economic policies that are not favorable with the masses. We don't see NLC doing the needful. All we hear over the pages of papers is either a call for strike, and then before you know it, it's been abandoned without letting us carrying the people along, at least to know exactly what changed at the end of the day. You see, so now that they are talking to FG with respect to the economic issues, beyond talking to them, because we all are talking, beyond the talks, we want to see necessary action. Because these political actors will definitely do nothing until they see the need, until that their personal interest is threatened. They will not do anything.
You think the NLC has not been doing enough? You think
they have not been doing enough? That is what we are saying. Today we're talking about minimum wage. How many states had implemented that? Even the implementation in most states is not the way it should. It's not transparent. A lot of things are not proper. It should be an open door policy. The workers who are beneficiaries should be part of the system. They should if you see the kind of mathematics going on in some quarters, in some states, with respect to the minimum wage, I'm not a civil servant. But then we should look at these things because it translates to the economic impact of others.
And we even wonder why
what's going on? What's going on?
The thing is descriptive. 70% increase. Oh no, 70,000 naira minimum wage.
Minimum.
That's minimum. That means some people are supposed to collect
implementation
more
is
than
a problem.
That,
The money does not belong to the government. The money belongs to the people. So what is the problem with that? But when it comes to frivolous expenditures, when it comes to renovating what have you, when it comes to their personal aggrandizements, then they can overbloat the budget and do whatever they wish to do with it. But the one that has to do with the people. So whose interest is NLC representing? That's my question. Whose interest?
Exactly.
Till today, a lot of states have not implemented that. It's not yet in the front burner.
I think they went ahead today. They were saying that by 1st December, they'll be calling out the workers on strike on the states that have not implemented. I say if it's just about 7 states that did not implement and then they go on strike on the 7 states, others are working, do you think it's impactful in any way?
It's not impactful. It should be a uniform thing. And then those who claim to have implemented, what is the level of implementation? We should understand what are they actually implementing.
Okay. Let's look at 2025 legal year. Anambra State Judiciary holds special consultation in Oka. Let's look at the judiciary in a whole. Have they really been doing well when it comes to occupying their position as one of the 3 arms of government?
It also makes sense if you streamline it to Anambra. Let's see probably from there.
Okay. The judiciary, I am a member.
This one that is
Association.
It's because this one is on your table.
Member of the Nigerian Bar Association, Oka branch here. And then I can boldly tell you that the judiciary today in Nigeria is going through trying times. That's the honest truth. When you look at should I say, the marriage between the executive and the judiciary today, then you flash back and discover that something is wrong somewhere. It's not as it should be.
Oh, you're saying the judiciary and the executive should not be in good terms?
Yes.
They should
not being in good terms. There's what we call separation of powers, checks and balances. One organ of government should be checkmating the other. Where is the checkmate today? When the executive can issue orders to some elements in the judiciary, and then we see conflicting orders here and there. Take Rivers State, for example.
It's horrible.
Take Rivers State, for example. And then you see courts of coordinate jurisdiction. You see, it's like we're the highest bidder takes it all. So, but thank God for Anambra State. We're narrowing it down. At least I can tell you that the judiciary in Anambra State had lived up to expectation. Greatly had lived up to expectation. And then I can equally go ahead to tell you that as it were today, there are concerns, a little concern, as far as Anambra State Judiciary is concerned. As our last week, if I am not mistaken, the Federal High Court in Anambra State did not sit. The same applied to the appeal courts. Why? Palpable fear on the air. The issues were not clear. I personally, I had a case, a matter in the Federal High Court here. We got there that morning just around 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the place is on lock and key. And they said there is security information that says the Federal High Courts will not sit.
What does that mean?
Is that not a serious concern? A serious concern. And then for the rest of that week, I don't know how far, whether it has been rectified as of today. Both staff of the judicial staff of the Federal High Court were nowhere to be found. You see them hurrying home. That early morning, there is palpable fear in the air. So what's going on? So my question now is, if there is
you should
fear,
tell us what's
there is whatever, then does it not behove on the stakeholders, on the institution, on government to provide adequate security? Now, abandoning the courts, abandoning the judiciary, abandoning the arbiter at that point how does it provide solution? If you say the system is being threatened and therefore we should abandon the courts, tomorrow all the courts can also be closed down, including the magistrate. Tomorrow, if we are told to abandon the government houses, what will happen?
Are you trying to say it doesn't really matter if the judiciary workers and everyone is probably threatened? It doesn't really matter. They should come to work.
Threatened by who?
Yeah, even if they get
no, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is security of life and property. If there is palpable fear in the air, then government should be proactive to provide adequate security. And then people will be relaxed.
Show strength.
Why there is fear, why people are running helter-skelter, is because there is no guarantee. You're on your own.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's finally look at this first question, second edition of Anambra Investment Summit 2024, hosted this week. Let's look at investment in Anambra State holistically, and then the environment in which we invest. Will you say that our people are now coming home? I know there's this scrambling for property, landed properties here and there. Most of them saying that if it is not in Anambra, we're not going to buy it anywhere. Is it just for keeps, or do you foresee outbreak of investment in the state, considering the situation of things in the country?
You see, we have to be optimistic, and beyond being optimistic, we have to equally encourage the government of the day. The current government of Soludo has done a lot on ground already to encourage investors. And I can tell you they are coming home. Irrespective of the security challenge. It's not peculiar to Anambra. There's a security challenge in the southeast today. And I can boldly tell you, when you compare what is happening in our sister states like Imo and the rest, then you will agree with me that the current government in Anambra State have stayed the tide. All we are asking is, let them do more. Let them do more. As for investors, they are coming. They are coming. They are coming. And we can feel the impact all over the place. But what is needed is a high level of security. Let people feel the impact. Let them feel safe. Then people can come relax here and do their business. And they are coming. So we encourage the government to do more. Usually, the challenge, as far as government, as far as security and government is concerned, is because of the way security system has been polarized. Our new federal system, where order comes from above. The sitting governor should be the executive governor, should be the chief security officer of the state. But usually you see divided loyalty. You see commissioner of police waiting for an order from Abuja, waiting for IG and what have you, and then you see things degenerate.
It's horrible. So,
but we know very well that the current governor, the current government, as it should be, they are doing a lot. They are doing more, and we are feeling the impact.
Okay.
We are calling our people wherever they are to please come home. Invest here. The December is around the corner. Let our people come home. There are no fears whatsoever. Usually over there, you see all these social media hypes and all that. It's part of the problem. People who are not here, usually I see people who are not here, they are not in this state with us. Most of them are even outside Nigeria, and they are telling us what is happening in Anambra. And most of those things are not true.
They are not.
They are not true. And then all this media wash, all this creating tension, creating fears and what have you. So that's why I keep telling our people, let's tell our stories ourselves.
When they ask me questions on the security situation in Anambra State, I'll always ask them, you know me, you have your families, yeah? Have you had anybody got lost or whatever? Okay, let's move on. Let's get back to the papers now, Punch newspaper.
All right, we'll give you some of the headlines in the Daily Times. All right, wickedness, pain, and exclusive preserve of Tinubu's government. That's coming from the one-time Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And he writes that says President's economic policies approach to governance, killing Nigerians. And also, at Saudi summit, Tinubu demands end to Israeli aggression in Gaza. Ipman Dangote, which agreement for direct lifting of petrol, diesel, kerosene. That's on page 2 of the Daily Times. So on Daily Times, criminal prosecution, police secure 35,604 convictions in 10 months. That's a lot. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Times. NNPCL clears $4.68 billion cash call debt to IOCs. Electricity consumers kick as discos increase prices of prepaid meter. Now on the Punch, we have petrol pump price may drop as Dangote marketers sign deal, and that's on page 2 and 23 of the Punch newspaper. Marketers to begin loading at refinery. NNPCL ends 24 trillion naira annual fee for import, patronizes Dangote. Still on the Punch newspaper on page 10. Hope I'm saying that correctly. That looks like 19. Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, Abiodun, former governors Loud Bakare at 70. U.S. places $25,000 bounty on fleeing Nigerian on murder trial, and that's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Obasehi hands over to Okpebolo today, pardons 10 inmates, and that's on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. And then on the Vanguard, we have a value of unsold goods rises 357.6% to 1.24 trillion naira. That's coming from a man. Still on the Vanguard, we have mining marshals, security forces clash over Chinese illegal miners, arrest in Kebbi. Dangote agrees to sell petrol directly to independent marketers. I'm not jealous. Tinubu's policies killing Nigerians. Coming from Atiku, he insists. Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu to Nigerians. Times are hard, but things would get better. That's words of hope from the president and the governor. All right, end bad governance, prosecuting protesters against 1999 constitution. This is coming from Falano. And Nigeria's crude output rises 16.56% to 1.8 million barrels per day. Ondo Guba, INEC delivers materials. INEC delivers materials. Stakeholders seek hitch-free poll. All right, these are some of the headlines in the some of the major newspapers: Daily Times, The Punch, and The Vanguard. Your takes on some of the headlines?
Yes, let's get talking first before we get to other papers here. Well, we have visually discussed the NLC gives Governor's December 1 ultimatum for minimum wage. But I'm sure we have given that a good bite. So let's look at what is going on between Atiku and the presidency. It started yesterday. Okay, it's been there, but I think since yesterday, this back and forth exchange of words has been going on. But this today, wickedness, pain, and exclusive preserve of Tinubu's government is coming from Atiku, and then they're accusing him of being jealous.
You see, today, Atiku's opinion in that regard is the general opinion.
In my general opinion?
It's general opinion. Over 80% of Nigerians are feeling the pain. No wonder I saw in the recent past, they say it's T-pain. So we're feeling the pain, the economy, the economic downturn. In fact, it's something else. Something else. When you look at the exchange rate in relation to dollar, the indices are there, the facts are there. It's not about Atiku as a person. If anyone thinks or feels that Atiku is jealous, then prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. We should transcend from persons to issues. We're talking about the issue here. It's not about Atiku. Is it because Atiku said it and therefore what happens? We've been saying it. We've been shouting it. The economy, something needs to be done. We need something better.
People are dying of hunger.
More than he had stayed in Nigeria.
That's
so
like
the issue. We want
we
results. We've lamented enough. It's obvious. It's obvious. At least for
Do
the
you
first time,
think,
the refinery is in this country and it's working. So what's going on? Still, we cannot afford.
Do you think if Atiku were to be there, he would have done anything better? Considering the antecedents of Nigerian politicians, the incoming becoming worse than the outgoing, and just like that. We are crying about outgone. We are crying about Buhari the other day, that let Buhari go, let's take a fresh breath, and then Tinubu comes in and it becomes worse. And I think it's been like that for some time now. So do you think if he were to be there, it would have been something different?
You see, I will give Atiku benefit of the doubt.
Just like some people gave Tinubu.
Tinubu have no experience in the first instance.
One time, 8-year governor, first governor.
Closer to the presidency.
As the vice president.
As the vice president for 8 years. And then, look at the facts with respect to when Obasanjo was there and now. when you look at the facts and the figures, it is clear. We can give it to Atiku. That's the point. He's closer. Tinubu came in with the Lagos mantra, but we can see. So
that Nigeria is not Lagos.
Exactly, it's not.
So are you saying the Lagos mantra isn't one that is quite, will I say, positive economically?
It is not. Obviously, it is not, because the same way we are crying and shouting today, same way they are crying and shouting in Lagos.
But the governor of Lagos State, together with the president, has, he's assuring Nigerians that things will get better. I mean, the fact that things are really not, but they're assuring Nigerians that probably this is just the trying times, probably a little, will I say, baby steps of pains and all that. But are we seeing something really turning out in the next future?
Let's be optimistic. Beyond assuring Nigerians, we want to see where we are headed. Let there be clear policies of action.
All right. We want to see results.
Let action match west.
Okay.
Let's look at Ondo State, the elections coming in, very close and all that. Lots of questions about Nigerians actually trusting INEC. What's your take on elections, especially,
People are losing faith. Totally. People are losing faith in the electoral system. Totally. And as usual, what interests them more beyond the cries and the weeping of the people is grabbing power, political power. It interests them more. Everyone now is focused in Ondo. At the end of the day, as far as we know it, APC will go at all lengths to grab it as usual, just like they did in Edo.
What happened in Edo? What happened in Edo?
I can tell you boldly that in Edo State, the facts and figures that were published by INEC did not tally with what was transmitted.
But it's on INEC to say, oh, this is actually the result. This is actually what we have.
They did in presidential election.
That's what I say.
Okay, let's move on, gentlemen. Let's move on. We're talking about the situation of things in the country and the war between Atiku and the presidency. Of course, some analysts say that all these things, all the problems, all the pains we are going through in this regenerating economy, that's what APC called it, it's because of the palm price issue, the removal of the subsidy. And now there seems to be hope because on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we say petrol palm price may drop as Dangote marketers sign deal. So let's look at this business between NNPCL and the Dangote refinery. Whether it's going to bring down our pain or increase our pain, as the case may be.
You see, I am hopeful that if Dangote refinery is allowed to deal with marketers directly, that things will get better.
It's a free economy. I'm very hopeful. Let me tell you, the challenge we have in the oil sector today is because of some vested interests. The vested interests. How many refineries do we have in this country, and what does it take to make them work? Today, they are not working. But the same government went as far as giving a loan of over 70% to a single individual to build a refinery. And now it is done. What is the interest of government? Trying to gag the price of crude, trying to make it exorbitant, price control system, and what have you. And that is why we are going forth and on over same issue. So I am sure, I am certain that if Dangote refinery is allowed to interface with marketers directly, it will benefit the masses.
But do you see that coming?
Yes, I see that coming.
Okay, and another thing, don't you think if Dangote refinery works, don't you think there's need for Nigeria to look at maybe privatizing NNPC and give it to private individuals to handle? At least let's see if we can get good competition, market competition between Dangote and these other refineries. By so doing, we'll be able to bring down the prices of petroleum products.
I am sorry to disagree on that, because most sectors that have been privatized in Nigeria, what's happening in them today? The privatization mantra is just a means of transferring wealth fraudulently to private politicians. It have not worked. Look at power, for example. The disbundling from NEPA to PSTN to where we are today. So what has happened is it got worse by the day. So the Obasanjo era, Go back to it. Look at all the sectors that were privatized within that period of time. So what has happened? At the end of the day, they siphoned what should be the people's economy into private pockets. So trying to privatize is not about privatization. It's about creating options, create alternatives. Let refineries work. The last time there were issues raised in the media about a refinery owned by Nigerian politicians in Malta, we swept it under the carpet because there are vested interests. What stops the government? What stops the government from investigating, creating an inquiry, at least to clear the people? At the end of the day, there are interests, and that is why NNPC had not worked and will not work. So until options are created, there are alternatives, transparency. Even Nigerians today, we do not know. Do you know how many, they tell you diversions, oils, crudes that are stolen on daily basis? They tell you as at the last time, they talk about 40,000 barrels, 1,000. What's going on? So those leakages, can't it be traced?
Leakages. We'll be moving to the next newspapers. We have the Daily Independent, and on the Daily Independent we have 765 flights cancelled, 19,250 delayed in Nigeria in 6 months. And a kicker to that, Delta Airlines stops flight delays among foreign carriers. Dana Airlines leads local operators with 69% delays. All right, still on Daily Independent, we have Edo APC Transition Committee submits report 6 probe of Obasehi, and that's on page 29 of the Daily Independent. We also have, like we've seen in all the other newspapers, Ipman, Dangote reach agreement on direct petrol supply. Focus on governance, stop assaulting opponents. Atiku tells Tinubu, defunct Heritage Bank, NDIC, begins auction of landed properties and chattels, and that's on page 29. Fuel price hike, flood to raise inflation to 33.4% in October. Kyari outlines vision for Nigeria's energy future, says NNPC to unveil 12 CNG stations soon, insists COI not sabotaging domestic refineries. Varsity education at risk if proposed tax reforms are passed. This is coming from ASU. Education tax remittance to TED fund in 2024 hits 1.5 trillion naira. Don't be deterred by challenges, be upright. CJN urges judges, and that's on page 6 of the Daily Independent. And on the Guardian, we have healthcare on life support. Okay, healthcare on life support as hospitals buckle under power crisis, and that's on page 6. Up to 20% fee increase as energy costs strain budgets. Staff resort to phone, flashlights, and surgery delays. Disrupted clinic schedules. Hospitals seek prioritization by electricity distributors due to life-saving services. All right, hospitals spend over 60 million naira monthly on diesel transfer costs to patients. All right, coalition decries new terror group. Shekarau flees intelligence failure. TED fund cuts raise fears of tuition hikes despite student loan relief. Tinubu seeks end to Gaza war, supports two-state solution. Unsold goods hit 1.24 trillion, up by over 350% in 6 months. Marketers Dangote settle rift on floor lifting as NNPCL claims non-indebtedness. ICPC advocates asset tracking to combat illicit financial flow, and that's on page 6, I believe. I hope I'm saying that clearly. That's on page 6 of The Guardian. And then the business page, we have NDIC begins liquidation of defunct Heritage Bank assets. Democrats, Aregbe Shola, differ on return to parliamentary system, and that's on page 3 of The Guardian newspaper. And then on the Daily Trust, we have Saudi Summit, Tinubu, Prince Salman, others demand end to Israel's aggression in Gaza, and Kikes. We have call for two-state solution. Death toll in Palestine surpasses 43,000. They will have 16,765 children among victims. Over 100,000 wounded. Dangote, Ipman agree on direct fuel supply. EFCC to monitor funds disbursements to IPPIS. Others, police officers protecting foreign cyber criminals on illegal duty. This is coming from the IJP. Lassa Fever accused 11 persons in Benue. Boko Haram kills 3, kidnaps many fishermen in Borno State under governorship. Politicians woo voters with cash and food. And then, all right.
Let's see on the papers, Tribune.
All right, okay.
Let me see. Okay, Ipman, on Tribune, Nigerian Tribune, we have Ipman, Dangote reach agreements on direct lifting of petrol, diesel, and others. And then on Duguba, last-minute preparation peak as APC, PDP, INEC state for Saturday poll. That's all we're taking from that paper. Let's look at the last paper this morning, which is the Blueprint. Yeah, I had the Nigerian Tribune before Blueprint. Okay, Blueprint. On Blueprint now, Middle East crisis, Tinubu rallies OIC, Arab League against Israeli aggression on Gaza. Where is this one coming from now? Okay, says conflict has inflicted immeasurable sufferings. I don't know why I'm laughing. Okay, Rep Group 6 homegrown parliamentary system. And that's all we're taking from that paper. Let's get talking. Can we, before we forget, look at what's going on in the Middle East between Israel and Gaza? And now that the president had decided to come in to go settle a fight when your house is burning.
In fact, I wonder whose interest
I don't know.
he's representing. Our president is more concerned about what is happening outside.
About people dying in another country than
he's
the ones
talking about
dying
suffering.
within.
So he understands, he appreciates the definition of the word suffering. That the conflict has increased suffering over there. Then what happened? I think they say charity begins at home. So what have actually happened? We have various conflicts here. Conflicts in the southeast. Oh, so he can recommend a two-state solution. A two-state solution. Now what he's saying is in order, actually. But can we bring this home, please? There are conflicts in Nigeria today. Has he called the Southeasterners to a round table to actually understand what they actually want? So, two-state solution is the political solution to the conflict in Gaza. It's a political solution. So, why not bring in that same political solution in the Southeast? Or are we afraid to mention the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is a political prisoner? Kept for how long now? And then is that not conflict? Is that not conflict? And then some voices in the Southeast are equally asking for a two-state solution. Same two-state solution. So have you called the people to a round table to decide what they actually want? And then he had gone to
The Middle East.
to Middle East to provide solution to their own conflict. Whereas we have conflicts here and there. Is the Boko Haram, is the banditry, is the what have you?
New terrorist group that just, that is, killing people in the north. And then, I don't know. Yeah, but we must continue.
All right, you're looking at very recently, we've seen that, I believe, the Guardian newspaper, unsold goods hit 1.24 trillion, up by over 350% in 6 months. Is this a great news? Is this something that, will I say, manufacturers, business persons, retailers, is this something they should be happy about? And is this something, because what this literally means is, if you've manufactured goods at, let's say, about 30 naira, about 6 months ago, now it's costing about 300 naira. So is this good for manufacturers? And in turn, does this really make sense for consumers?
Each time we keep talking about enabling environment for businesses to thrive, we expect government at all levels to provide the enabling environment. You can't keep taxing the people, raking in tax in the name of revenues, whereas there is no outcome. So we expect you make it viable for the people. We're not asking for too much in this country, for Christ's sake. all these small business owners, they are getting the worst hit today. Because what business can you do in this country? There is no power. You have to provide your own source of power. You have to, the roads, what have you, security. It's an issue in Nigeria today. So all we're saying is government should provide enabling environments for businesses to thrive. And then we keep talking about this Japan syndrome and what have you.
Yeah, apart from businesses thriving, talking about tax, let's also look at what's going on in the education sector, where varsity education is at risk if proposed tax reforms are passed. This is coming from ASU. Okay. So how long are we going to see this? Is everything taxable now? And the other, we saw the story somewhere where they were saying even with the introduction of the student loan, and they proposed what do you call it, tax, and then will lead to, increase in school fees, which will make nonsense of the loan, the student's loan.
You're talking about students' loan. Please, we need to even go to the field and find out who actually got this loan. All the stories. Student loan. I can tell you categorically that as far as Southeast is concerned, that no particular student, undergraduate, got a loan from the federal government. Someone should prove me wrong.
Some reports said, a number of them did get, and a whole lot of stories about that. But reports.
We want to see undergraduates coming out to say, I got.
Majority of the benefit from the northern part of the country and the southwestern part of the country and all that.
Okay, that's by the way.
Losing the numbers.
That's by the way. And then
well, you give me with one hand, you collect with the other hand.
That is if you actually give in the first place.
Okay, that's loan, that's students loan, but there's hiking student fees, and then these taxations there and there. What's going on?
You see, they say they have removed subsidy. Can they subsidize something else, please? Like education? At least.
And what exactly are they doing with the money accruable to all these subsidy removals and whatever?
Exactly.
Okay, finally, before we go, please. NSAS government prosecuting protesters is against 1999 constitution. This is coming from Falana. This is on your table. So tell us what you guys are doing. We saw what happened with the children that were falling ill even in the court, and somebody stood up to address the whole world that these children that we saw were not children, that they were up to over 30 years, they have children, that they are married and that kind of a thing. I don't understand where I am again.
There were so conflicting pictures.
I like what happened. What happened. At least the people have seen that their voice counts.
What is judiciary doing to us?
We need to start speaking up. We don't have strong institutions in this country. That is the truth. We have strong individuals. We don't have strong institutions. And that is why the institutions has failed. So the people should capitalize on that. That is why when things go wrong and we see civil society groups, NLC and what have you, that is the gross I have with them. Because they are in a position to galvanize the people to have a voice. You can see what happened. Over time, these children were detained.
For 3 months.
They were detained. And then everyone was just complacent, like nothing happened. And then you can see, just because the people started speaking, it's not about the institution. It's about the people. So, and then we've said it time without number. Any government that thinks it can stifle public opinion, stifle opposition, and then is headed nowhere. It's autocracy, it's tyranny, it is not provided by the Constitution. The Constitution provides for the fundamental human rights of the people. That people are free, freedom of expression, freedom of conscience. These things should be seen to be available to the people. How will you restrict people from protest? Now, protesters are now offenders. They are criminals because they protested, because they spoke their mind. So how you will solve that problem is by gagging them, is by arresting them, detaining them, and bringing up Trump charges. Whereas the criminals are walking free.
Counsel, why is the judiciary that's supposed to protect this constitution, why would they allow the executive to rubbish it by doing what is not in the constitution? That's what Falana is saying. Prosecuting protesters is unconstitutional, but it is the lawyers that's supposed to interpret this constitution that are prosecuting these people.
Exactly.
What is going on?
Exactly.
What is the judiciary doing to this nation?
I can tell you that the judiciary is doing their bit. On daily, when you assess our courts and see the reports, you will see that there had been several reviews. A lot of human rights abuses have been corrected in the courts. It's happening on a daily. My worry is that people like Falana, these great individuals we respect a lot, why is he speaking up now? Why not when this happened? No, that is my worry.
Falana has always been someone who is always been very vocal about human rights,
exactly.
Activities and abuse of human rights. He's always been very vocal about some of these things.
We expect more.
Okay.
We expect more.
We expect more from everybody.
Let it be timely.
We also expect more from you, from judiciary especially.
Yes, from us. Because a judge sat and saw those kids being arraigned and still gave a remand order.
It's horrible.
I'm probably looking at the fact that, they may have, it's not just the fact that they actually did protest, probably because they did, some other wrongs or something like that. All right, but let's quickly... before they leave, before we leave, let's look at 765 flights cancelled, 19,250 delayed in Nigeria in 6 months. Fortunately, we are not seeing that of Airpeace. He's always been the name. He's always that. Airpeace is always that name that we hear all the time. But fortunately, we're not seeing him this time. But we're seeing Delta Airlines and Dana Airlines. Why is this happening? Why is this happening?
I want to understand clearly. Where did you get that?
I think it's on the Daily Independent.
Okay, Daily Independent.
Cancellation of flights, but I think it's a accumulation of all the flights that were cancelled this week.
Okay. You see, I think it's a policy thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's a policy thing. You see, these are private companies.
Businesses, yes.
Businesses. So there should be a way of checkmating them, controlling them. Because I don't see how one would book a flight, you cancel it, probably arbitrarily, without, there should be a due process. And then there should be compensation when things go wrong. Government should hold them accountable. It's just like what's happening with our network system. Network providers. They can get you off at any point in time and nothing will happen.
And without explanation.
Without
pre-information.
Very true.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Please, we are completely out of time. We just have to go for now. And we would like to thank you very much, Barrister Moses Ubo, our public affairs analyst, and also legal practitioner, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And for your time.
Okay, thank you. And this is how it's been this morning on Press Review. You remember to join us tomorrow early at exactly 7:30 for our fresh edition. My name is Ichama.
My name is Obina.
Okay, we'll see you at the other side of the pond, where we're going to look at the rise in cyber crimes, the implications on Nigeria's security. You wouldn't want to miss this. Bye for now.